And so far, yeah, Vaults 1, not going horribly. Definitely could have been a whole lot worse. I'm sure that that won't keep up to the same extent as we continue onwards. One can dream, but it's not highly likely at the very least. Radiate, light you on fire, and move on. There we go. Through the first floor. And yeah, not too bad. I mean, no willpower items, which is definitely what we were desperately hoping for. But still getting some experience under our belts. And getting slightly stronger in the process. And so, let us continue, shall we? Hello, friends. Now would be the time to mark me, since I can just immediately run away. And they do oblige. I mean, of course, a Vault Warden could change my opinion on that. Could be kind of scary. Also, nobody? Hello? Vaults 2, are you okay? Nobody heard? Nobody came to see what the fuss was about? Ah, here are all of our friends. I felt so disrespected. It was like nobody even cared. But feel much better now. Nothing past that teleporter on the first floor that we want. There was at least one thing that we did want. Unfortunately, I don't know how I feel about the calculus that goes into it, because there were a decent number of enemies that we would have to take care of in order to do so. But of course, the one thing that we do potentially want to get our grubby little paws on is a blinking scroll. But wizard alone makes me not a huge fan of heading in here. Just because unfortunately, a banishment isn't quite what we're looking for, and besides that, there are a decent number of strong enemies. I mean, ideally, everyone's grouped up together. We just ignition a few times, bada boom, bada bing, whole room clear. It's that easy, folks. But if things start looking a little bit more dire, probably gonna have to spend more than a single blink scroll to get ourselves out of there. So we'll wait for now. Definitely likely to come back in the future, especially if we find ourselves using up our other 2 blinking scrolls here and in desperate need of more consumables to survive. Then we always know that we have that option in our back pocket here. But let us ignite the night here and just absolutely blast most of these buddies to oblivion. Maybe not totally necessary. We could probably take them on in a bit more of a traditional fashion. But it can be nice to just burn all your problems away sometimes. In fact, we should step up to our yak friend here. And perfect. We do kind of desperately want some kind of improvement on the weapon side of things here in the near future. We are going to resort to ignition once more here in a group of enemies. Maybe throw in the occasional irradiate as they come close to us. Some nice little blend of spells there, near and far. Hopefully, new weapon, more willpower. Those are the 2 things that are on our agenda that we're in desperate need for. And we'll hopefully be able to come across over the course of our journey. Hello, my centaur friends. Let us probably blast you. It sucks because nobody is next to us. Oh, and part of these, right, we can only see them through the glass. So, I think I'm gonna do some annoying door closing things. Fortunately, we're a little bit slow in our door closing, so they still get 1 shot in, but I was hoping to allow more of them to coalesce in, get around the corner here, so that we could do something like a fancy ignite. But let's just walk into the middle of them so that nobody has ranged options, and we'll instead go with the irradiate. Slightly cheaper, still outputs a nice chunk of change in terms of damage, as long as we don't completely contaminate ourselves. Perfect. Then I like to always send ourselves back to the stairs to heal up. A, because it's just safe, and it's better to be cautious, make sure we can retreat if something pops around. But on top of that, when I re-hit auto explore, it can be a nice addition to make sure that we don't get too far away from our only explored stairwell at the moment. So the closer we can kind of circle around this relatively safe area, the better, especially for just such an occasion. Hello. Get marked here. Have a bit of a posse adding up. Unfortunately, I don't feel great about my odds going back because there is this doorway that I'm sure people will start crowding in from. This might be an opportunity to just stand and fight, so I'm going to start channeling magic. Then we're going to use ignition while we have these three grouped together in a tight little bundle. Make sure we smash them all, switching over to Bolt of Magma once we reduce it down. Perfect, not too bad. And trunk monsters break doors if you try and do those kinds of door shenanigans. But my door shenanigans, no, you can't do that, that's illegal. Doors are supposed to be the most all-powerful force in the dungeon. I mean, a flimsy wooden door can even stop a rampaging Hydra, for heaven's sake, but that is probably a good change to add on, just because it is so cheesable in many ways. I keep trying to walk away a bit. Still have the mark going, no longer channeling magic. I am slightly concerned about this Convoker bringing in some pals. Unfortunately, no acid wand charges or anything like that that can pierce through. Not grand. Humdy-dum. I guess we do have a lightning rod. That sure does it. So let's switch over to that, take out the Convoker. Perfect. Can let our enemies group up a bit as we make our way into a hallway. Oh, you didn't die? Oh my gosh, sir. That's not great for us. Of course, also get frozen as soon as we walk into the hallway here by our lovely Frostheart friend. So let's pop around the corner so that we don't have quite as much in view. And in fact, we'll probably do it one more time here. In fact, let's do that right away. That's much better in terms of who can actually see us here. And then we can resort to some of our other tactics for the time being. Now on 0th edition D&D doors were stuck on 1 in 6, but monsters ignored doors. Cheating has a long history. The epic saga of doors and how they've progressed through our adventures is an amazing tale, I'm sure. Okie dokie. Death Mage alone, not too bad. We're managing to regenerate some magic here, just bashing our dagger against them a couple of turns in a row. We're even healing up slightly, which is pretty shocking. I mean, we do have 2 pips of resistance to negative energy. Gotta tell you, that positive spirit always doing us wonders here. But unfortunately, that's what I was worried about. We will eventually lose our statue form. I mean, if we bring everyone around here, we do have enough magic for ignition now. And these 4 are going to be in a whole whackload of hurt. So let's try it out. Hopefully take out that Convoker. Finally kill the Ironbound Convoker. You son of a gun. Unfortunately, not too much to the rest of our party here. I wonder, Creeping Frost is probably smite targeted, right? Yeah, because it just affects all the walls around us, unfortunately. Gotta love door lore, it's also fun to say. It is indeed. There's just so much to learn, so much to know. The in-depth nuances of how doors have progressed throughout our society and time. Incredible. But I am sad I didn't come up with door lore by myself. That is fantastic. It's good door lore for y'all. But okay, let's heal up now that we've gone out of that sticky situation. It's not going to be the last time it happens either, because I'm sure we'll be marked many times in the near future here. But hey, didn't have to spend too many resources to get through that encounter, so at the end of the day, can't complain too much. Dire elephants on their own without their beast tamer pals shouldn't be too much of a trouble. We've had to deal with them many times before. I don't think our enemies will open those rune doors, right? There are some definite weird interactions that have occasionally forced those vault doors to be opened every once in a while for me, and gotta say, generally the results not very pretty. So hopefully can avoid opening those up unnecessarily here. These rune doors, or this rune door setup, is always so sketchy. In fact, just to be extra sure, start blocking those immediately. Gotta say, caster actually seems so cool. I agree. I find that casters are my favorite way of playing the game. Definitely takes a little bit of practice to get the hang of them. For the longest time, I was the kind of classic, you gotta play Minotaur fighters all the time. They're the strongest combo ever. But as of late, I found myself absolute trash at a lot of melee builds. Clear my throat there a little bit, but I can somehow figure out how to get casters through the majority of the early game and mid game. So satisfying to get running. Oh lord, more door lore. There's always more door lore. That's the thing. It's such an illustrious topic of conversation. You can never get enough of it. You can never get it all, even. Not even close. There's just too much to learn, too much to know. And the last time you ran into that vault, it was filled with butterflies? Oh, that sounds lovely. I don't quite have the confidence that we'll run into the same here, so I think I refuse to check it out for now, but maybe one of these days we'll be feeling a little lucky, feeling a little cocky, and we can check it out. Speaking of checking out, it's time to try out this hat. It's an interesting one. It doesn't even look like the classic wizard cap because of the sprite limitations, so instead it looks like we're just wearing like a Scrooge pajama hat here. It does match our gloves, but otherwise, I think I gotta go back to our cowled hood look here. It's just a little bit more cohesive with the rest of our outfit. Always important. And let's finish marking off all those doors just in case. I don't have the confidence that it will just be a batch of butterflies. I'm sure it's all the worst horrors this dungeon has ever put together, all gathered in one horrifying place. Yeah, you love playing different species, but always fighter? Nice. No, I definitely, for the longest time, very much would have been in the same boat as you. It's only recently that I really started gripping onto casters and enjoying the versatility and the flexibility that comes with spellcasting. Hello, my lightning friend. Should be able to just take you out with a few sticky flames here, as we've been doing. Perfect. Not too shabby. We'll keep going. Vaults 2 definitely slowed us down a wee bit in some sketchy situations, but still not bad overall. Let us bring our new friends into a bit more of a corridor here. It's where our Bolt of Magma truly begins to shine. Gotta get our best casts out of that spell while it's still around, of course, as mentioned. And, I should just irradiate. It's so tempting to use Ignition, but it's like all of our magic right now. Should probably just irradiate. It's a slightly more consistent option at the very least, especially since we'll be back up to the required magic right away here. So we tab our way through this buddy and then just blast them with some noxious, toxic radiation. Perfect. And getting there, getting a bit closer to clearing our way through. A few of our favorite vault-themed friends, of course. Can't get by without them. As long as we don't get marked, we should be okay to break this fight up into a few more manageable chunks, of course. Make sure that this buddy doesn't have a distortion weapon, and they don't, just a +2 axe, so that's good. And we gotta blast the Convoker as soon as we see them. Make sure they don't call in too many friends. Wow, It's the second time already we've failed statue form. I think it was 4%, right? Oh no, 9%. Okay, so slightly less castable than I expected. It's good to recognize here as we fail it again. Incredible. And hello, my warden pal. No problem there with some lovely bolts of magma. Ooh, and we got another gift here. Let's read it while we're in front of enemies, shall we? Sifmuna's volume of confrontation. That's good. I definitely need to get some instruction in confrontation. It's something I'm not very good at in my life. But that spell book does have Iron Shot in it, which is a pretty great addition to our spell book here. Especially since I do believe, and let's just abort that thought right there, I was completely wrong. I thought that we might have had Lahudib's Crystal Spear already in our book here, but we don't, which means Iron Shot becomes the next best kind of just straightforward damage dealing DPS spell. Single target, I guess, is the main kind of caveat, important piece of information there. And more specifically, if we decide to get Spellforge Servitor online in the near future here, Iron Shot is probably the spell that will set them up to be casting out to pretty decent effect here. A bunch of spider pals. Just because of how much I hate entropy weavers, I'm definitely just blasting you all immediately with some ignition. Perfect. Maybe we need more spell casting for more spell levels, right? That and the overall magic pool here. I think it is just about time that we branch that way. I guess even before we finish the fight, I don't know about everyone else playing, but for me, even though it's a turn-based game, part of the beauty of it is that we can stop at any time, rearrange some stuff, change what skills we're training, all that. But for whatever reason, my brain always autocorrects to like, no, we gotta finish this encounter. We can settle our skills after the fact, but we gotta do this first, right? But let's shut off that little part of our brain, and instead, let's just do it now so we gain some of this current experience into where we want it to go. Start training spell casting again. At least up to 14, probably higher though. We'll see how that goes. And then I'm just gonna ignite. Y'all here, managed to take them all out in one fell swoop. Fantastic. What are all of you spiders doing hanging around these vaults areas, hey? Guess just chilling. Yeah, no answers to that mystery. Something that I guess humans were just never meant to know, really. I'm definitely gonna run in here, quickly getting away from any walls. I feel like I might be overcorrecting too far in fear of the frost hearts here, but it does seem to help out a great deal to just save us some trouble, not taking extra damage from that creeping cold. Now we'll ignite, getting some good overlapping on our favorite enemy, the Vault Warden. Switching over to Radiation as they surround us, and that was the perfect kind of complement of spells at the end of the day here. Oh, except that a Convoker showed up. Dang it, I do want to kill that Convoker right away. I mean, we can technically one-shot them with our Bolt of Magma. We've done it before. Not great odds, though. Not incredible. Let's go for it. We'll blast you. Yeah, didn't quite do it, eh? Which means this fight could potentially start getting a wee bit ugly. Alternatively, Lightning Rod still hits you. Let's see how that does. Gotta say, first blush, not good enough is the answer to that question. So we get some more enemies called in. That should be fine. Question becomes, do I wish to channel magic? Or do I think I can take care of this group of enemies, this new consort that we've managed to create here? I mean, most of you are relatively low AC. Relative, of course, being an interesting phrase this late in the game where we're still dealing with 2 pips across the board here, but I checked for Tin of Tremor Stones, which does slightly better against unarmored opponents. But let's try out one blast, see how that does. Not fantastic. Let's maybe take care of the Convoker before they call in more friends. We also should still have 1 blast left on that. Let's use that to take out the Sentinel, shall we? The Lightning Rod overheats. I feel like that's something that I've never experienced before. Have I never emptied you? Huh. Recharge. I don't know how that happened. I've never had one of those explode in my hands before, but that was awesome. Definitely did a nice amount of damage to everybody and didn't seem to hurt us too much, so can't exactly complain. Start attacking Ironbound Thunder Hulk here. I'm hoping to just regenerate magic for a little bit. Ooh, unfortunately, another Convoker showing up kind of ruins my whole day. So instead, I'm channeling magic, and we're bringing out the big guns here. Ignition, welcome back to the party. Perfect. And we'll switch over to Irradiate for the last couple enemies here. We shouldn't be too contaminated yet, and indeed we look okay there. Perfect. Not too bad. So we did, of course, have to resort to a little bit of magic channeling, but we seem to be hovering around the 5 pips of piety mark. So I think we're doing okay in terms of our overall expenditures here. You find that you always forget about what skills you're working on and only change when you reach your targets. Yeah, we're definitely in the same boat in that department. Something that I very much have trouble keeping on top of. Especially depending on the run, where you have some runs that are very skill dependent and you're, having to exact out the perfect amount of experience in each and every department and making sure you're not overtraining things in order to stay alive. But other runs, as you're just steamrolling, I sometimes will spend just hours not even looking at that stat screen. Ooh, and we fall through a shaft. Right as our statue form runs out, of course. Wouldn't have it any other way. But we should be okay. We were just about done that floor anyway. They're just making our job slightly easier. Unfortunately, we do see a sentinel around the corner here. And we do not have the best setup right now for getting marked. Pretty decent odds of it happening, unfortunately. And on top of that, we have no idea where our stairs are. So that's not great. Can use Curari to slow down our Vault Warden friend. Unfortunately, it's not enough, especially since we were relatively slow in statue form too. Gotta remember that when we're running away for dear life. That should be okay. We at least got you further away from our Sentinel pal, so that's something. Wizard popping around the corner, not great. I don't want to go to the abyss. Don't make me go back, please. I don't want to go back. Yeah, you've learned how to do skill management a lot better watching you. Well, thanks, Vikot. I'm glad that I haven't managed to instill all my bad habits in my viewers, because I definitely haven't always had the easiest time keeping up with that. That definitely is a nice thing to hear. And wouldn't have it any other way, indeed, Callie. Okie dokie. Here we go, Sentinel around the corner, just waiting to show up. There you are, you son of a gun. I need to blast you out of existence as soon as humanly possible. So we'll do a little bit of a mixture of techniques there, making sure that we stay safe out there, folks. And then, man, we're still starting to draw a lot of attention, hey? Even without getting marked, it turns out that not exactly in the clear either. I mean, ignition does hit you, even though you're way back there, so that's something. Probably kills everyone else on the screen. It's expensive, but I think it's worth it just to hit the Convoker at max range. They're still a further step away. Let's blast one more time. And hopefully, Bolt of Magma does the trick. I have a bit of a lump in my throat today. It's not doing great in terms of my overall ability to speak clearly. But hopefully, it isn't too much of a persistent thing. I guess, hey, that is why we have drinks, right? Let's take a quick second to lubricate the old throat here. Okie dokie. Hopefully that does the trick. Don't get a little raspy mid-sentence here. But Vaults 3 definitely going okay here. Haven't found any stairs, which is of course unfortunate. Not exactly what we were hoping for. Would be nice to have at least the option of escape. I mean, we probably would have been heading down here in the next few seconds upstairs anyway, but it's one thing to have a bit of a controlled descent versus this absolute mad dash. Excuse me, friend. Please stop. Please, sir. Please don't. Perfect. Invokers are apparently just around every corner here, but hey, as long as it's not a preserver, am I right? And overall, of course, can't complain. Things are going smoothly than could otherwise be expected. So we irradiate a couple of big old burbs, light them on fire. Sticky Flame always being a nice addition to quick enemies, making sure that we don't have to chase them around too much. And of course, speak of the devil and they shall appear. Preserver right around the corner, fun stuff. But we should be okay. Coming into this fight in a pretty decent position here. Nothing holds well against our personal pocket nuke that is irradiation. And we'll continue blasting that out here for the most part. Perfect. Not too shabby. No, again, no upstairs? Really? Couldn't just throw me a bone here, game? It's just a single upstairs is all I ask for, please, sir. Just give us a break. Hey, there we go. Apparently we just had to ask nicely. That was my mistake before. It always pays to be polite. You just gotta give the dungeon its due respect and they'll respect you right back, you know? Golden rule and all that. Ooh, and we do finally come across another ID scroll. A long time coming. We do have a few potions here to check out. 2 potions of ambrosia. Okay. This character doesn't quite have the defensive capabilities that I normally think pair so well with something like ambrosia. By which case I just mean if you have the ability to just take a lot of damage, or rather take very little damage even when taking many hits, then ambrosia can be used as a very cool heal combo. Save some of those heal wounds for the emergency situations. Also, crap, wizard. Should have been paying more attention. Let's immediately blast you with a fireball. It does do the trick at the very least. And has probably created enough noise to bring the rest of our good old friends down. Perfect. Come one, come all. Still a fairly ideal situation to be fighting these creatures in, especially since you can always ignite and run away. It's that easy. Perfect. We failed that 9% chance a whole lot in the recent past here. As long as we're saving up all of our good luck for when it actually matters and we're one hit away from death, I don't mind whatsoever. Do what you will, RNG. Just have my back when the time comes, you know? Let's in fact get out of there now. We might as well recharge all of our magic. Get statue form going. I mean, hey, that's following the rules. We're still in a safe spot here. The game is totally allowed to make us fail there by our own admission. And come one, come all once more, surrounding our stairs. I'm blanking at the moment as to exactly how many irradiates you can get off. It's a surprising amount, especially since you have multiple levels of contamination, of course. Still haven't, I mean, rather mundane. I mean, kind of rude game, but you're not wrong. We are also human. Not exactly the most exciting of species. But yes, it doesn't look like we've managed to irradiate ourselves too much so far. Haven't gotten any mutations. Even getting to the second stage of contamination generally isn't a big deal, and it's that third one where things start to get a little brutal here. Anyone waiting for some good Black Friday sales? You're eyeballing a Ninja blender? Nice. I would definitely recommend the Ninja blenders. They're pretty nice, especially if you're somebody who actively uses I use them a lot. I think my partner got one a while back for Christmas or birthday from her parents, and she makes a lot of smoothies and the like, so she's absolutely enjoyed the crap out of having it around. Definitely a good piece of equipment. I'm such a sucker for kitchen appliances. I love gadgets in general, and I'm a huge fan of cooking, and so anything that I can add to my kitchen is such a big draw for me. Yeah, breakfast shakes, nice. No, I would recommend, I mean, obviously Ninjas are a little bit pricey, but it's for a good reason. They are a pretty high quality piece and relatively easy to clean. So many blenders that I've used in the past are an absolute nightmare. Okie dokie, Entropy Weaver. Let's run away a bit. I always kind of forget about Black Friday. It's not as big of a deal up here in Canada. I mean, we still kind of, certain companies, either because they have offices in the States or because it's a good excuse to have a consumer-based holiday, we still use Black Friday, even though we don't celebrate the same Thanksgiving holiday. But it's been a while since I took advantage of it for sure. Hello, my friends. Could go for Ignition here. It's not bad against a triple target, I guess. It's expensive, of course, but not too shabby. And as long as we have enough magic to irradiate a few times, should be all good against whoever makes it through. Perfect. And the rest of these buddies we can run away from a bit. Especially, I'm looking at you, Warden. Or not Warden, rather Sentinel, that's what you're called. Don't you dare mark me. Don't you do it. Black Friday becoming more relevant there in Australia the last couple of years? Oh, interesting, yeah. You know, it does seem to be a holiday that is a little bit more universal, even though it is very much dependent on an American holiday in the first place. But again, it makes sense. Companies can make a decent buck even with sales. And, I mean, we all love it too, right? Getting a good deal on something is always innately satisfying in many ways. Let's run to an upstairs while we wait for this mark to wear off. I was about to say perfect, but then the Warden popped out around the corner. Not quite as ideal. Hopefully can finish off this fight in one piece. I did. Oh. I went a little out of control there, and I contaminated myself too much. But hey, maybe we won't be so mundane anymore, right? Okay, a lot of those are from being a statue. Let's wait for that to wear off, wait for the contamination to run all of its effects. Our body sometimes deteriorates upon taking damage. This is what happens when you don't pay attention and you're dealing with high radiation, folks. Even a genius like Fury died of radiation sickness. We gotta be a little bit more cautious and careful about that stuff. It's dangerous. Of course, despite how intelligent and incredible Curie was, unfortunately the world didn't quite know about the existence or the exact mechanics of radiation, how bad it could be, so she's highly not to blame, of course. You drink mutation potions? You mean in the fun, like, mutation roulette, try for good stuff? It's like rolling the dice. It's something I've fallen out of favor of. Just earlier when we were mentioning the old transmutation spells of being able to evaporate the corpses of your enemies into potions. Those days, one of my favorite activities was finding sky beasts, turning their bodies into mutation potions, and rolling the dice. So it has a long-standing history with me, for sure, to say the least. But it is probably something that I've fallen out of favor of at least a wee bit as of late. I always just want to get the the evolution mutation. That's my favorite by far. Because in a similar way, it just keeps that ball rolling forever without you having to have the consumables. I mean, the one thing that probably makes me most resistant to the idea of chugging mutation now is I'm always scared and worried put together, made it scared. Scared that I'll use up all my mutation potions having fun and rouletting, and then I'll find myself stuck with a horrible mutation, some blurry vision BS, and no longer able to get rid of it whatsoever. You only glug them to try and get rid of bad ones? Yeah, that's definitely the smart way to play it, Makoto. I agree with that. Ooh, and finally, Wand of Acid. Where have you been my whole life? Waiting for you. Also, Scroll of Identity, or Identify, is probably what we should have gone rid of there. Ooh, Potion of Experience. That's kind of fun. Not worth the risks. Usually not. But you speak to me too well when you talk about it in terms of rolling the dice, because at heart, I'm a bit of a gambler, and I do like playing the odds. I'm able to manifest my own luck, right? Just believe hard enough. It will get only good results, only good mutations, and I'm sure it would work out just fine. But let's drink a potion of mutation, or not mutation, potion of experience. A bit of a Freudian slip there. And where do we wish to allocate? Could go straight into shields. Doesn't give us a lot, that's for sure. Not a whole lot of progress there. Alternatively, what if we put it somewhere like evocations? Brings us up to 4.9 instantaneously. That's kind of nice. Evocations are just so strong that almost on any character, I like to train it up at least a wee bit. And it could be pretty sweet to have a nice jump start to the whole process. Though you got the teleport to enemies one and you managed to get to Zot Orb and clear the run. Nice, yeah, teleportitis is a funny one, because it can be an absolute nightmare, or it can be an absolute cakewalk, and you never really know until you're in the driver's seat, facing the flames. Because I had a similar, even just being a Zom worshipper on an Octopode run a while back. Had some very good teleports, had some absolutely horrifying teleports. Box of chocolates and all that. Never really know what you're gonna get. If you have a stack, you try for Evolved. No, it's always worth it. It's such a fun ability. Just the buck that keeps on giving. And yeah, I should have said congrats as well, Makoto, because that's definitely a... despite the possibility for it not to be horrendous, it's still always impressive to make your way through with a potentially debilitating mutation. Okay, just some works of flaming that I can deal with. Let's run away a bit, seeing as how everyone should catch up. And then we can get slightly more efficient in our targeting here. And what about you, sir? Let's do a quick check. We fought a couple sentinels, just kind of crossed our fingers, hoping we don't get marked. 52 health, though. So what do we have that kills you? Fireball does not. Bolt of magma, unlikely, but technically possible. Ignition, no. Irradiate is definitely our best bet for a one-shot KO. But unfortunately, we'd have to run up anyway, so might as well start with a bolt of magma, then just irradiate you. Twice. There we go. Still didn't get marked though, so that's something. I will take what I can get. Hello, my friend. Let's try and irradiate a couple times just to get past that initial healing bump. Perfect. Ooh, Convoker. I will just walk away from since they haven't noticed me. Rather be in perfect condition before having to deal with that.